Get to know the power of the Holy Spirit, functionality, purpose, responsibilities, powered up and placed in your heart, and how much importance is the understanding to the Holy Spirit when we're dealing with this matter of getting through your breakthrough with church hurt. I'm going to be sharing some warning signs in this series, where we're going to be breaking this down for you, talking about unhealthy church life. If you have placed all the trust in your pastor, and you've placed an idol on your pastor, and you've placed the medallion of trust on your minister who is lording over you, tells you when to breathe, when to move, what to do, how to buy it, when to buy it, and you must serve him. And if you don't serve him, you will be maligned. You will be leveled off the playing field. You could be enduring some abuse, and because you're blinded by an unhealthy, toxic individual who is poisonous and is pouring nothing but poison into your mind, then you are succumbing to church abuse. And it's hard to get reconnected when you have seen your trust shattered, when you have been abused mentally, physically, psychologically, and yes, sexually by these pariahs, these predators, these who prey on the vulnerable. So we're going to be handling that. Come across the bridge. Hopefully you have received what you need to receive when we were in relaxation side of Night Moods in the secret place, and you're getting into a better understanding. Maybe you've been received equipment, spiritual equipment, information, revelation, a promise, a blessing. Maybe there is now in your journey a person of influence who's going to help encourage you, empower you, help you advance spiritually, open some doors for you. And as we get into this week-long series of church hurt, I'm going to be breaking down 11 signs of an unhealthy church. Now, I'm sure there's probably 40 signs of an unhealthy church, but I'm going to be breaking down the 11. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can send an email over to Night Moods HDQ. You can also send a message here on the channels, as well as our official Facebook page. We do have a post up if you have been hurt. Definitely would love to talk to you without getting in depth. Have some special guests that are going to be on later this week that's going to help unpack and bring you through the breakthrough to come out, never turn back to the toxic setting that you found yourself in. Let me see if I can get the caller on the line before we get into night one of a 4-part series of getting through your breakthrough, how to deal with church hurt. Caller, you're on the air. This is Michael. You're welcome to Night Moods HDQ. Are you there? Welcome to Night Moods HDQ. This is Michael. You're on live on the radio. Are you there? Looks like we're having some difficulties with the caller on that end. We're going to keep it moving. Now, I said that there are essentially at least 11 unhealthy, toxic attributes, characteristic flaws, integrity, morals that are missing, and we're going to deal with breaking through. So I'm going to break down here the definitions of toxic, and if you don't understand, and maybe it's because you are being manipulated spiritually, maybe it's because you have been manipulated physically, and that is sexually, that is mentally, and that is emotionally and financially. Because the finances is how to pay you off to keep quiet. And as long as the influx of provision and resources come, it's going to keep you connected, because the cutoff is the payoff. So what are you getting and receiving for your payoff from these toxic ministers? And toxicity is this: containing or being poisonous, especially capable of causing death or serious debilitation, mental debilitation, spiritual debilitation, maybe giving you bits and pieces and crumbs and now allowing you to grow, staunching your spiritual growth. This is one who exhibits symptoms of an infection or toxicosis. That big word. How about this? Toxic is this: extremely harsh and malicious and harmful. A toxic person knows how to manipulate and control situations because he's preying on vulnerable individuals. And if you have given your trust to a leader in the church, and we're going to break down these signs, and this leader in the church is abusing and manipulating and coercing you to do things that aren't right, you may be getting that check in your mind or check in the spirit, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, because of who he is, he has control over you. So I'm going to get this off of the notes. 11 warning signs of an unhealthy church and what you can look out for. Grab your notes. We're going to go down. I'm going to give you the 11. Then we're going to back it back up. I'm going to frame this out and get through these the entire next 4 nights of this series. And once again, you can also get these 11 points if you want to get the email, nightmoveshdq@gmail.com. And if you want to ask for the 11 points, I'll make sure that you get your hands on that. And I'm sorry we can't get the call around, but hopefully we can get you on tomorrow night. So go ahead and email us. Let us know that you tried getting in. You've been on for about 5 or 6 minutes. And send us an email, and we'll make sure that we get you locked in for a future conversation, maybe tomorrow and or Wednesday. We have a guest coming on Wednesday evenings. It'd be kind of cool to talk to you and help you. Maybe you have something that you can share to help others, male or female, get through, break through. Okay, 11 topics. So these are the warning signs. So I want you to write down, these are 11 warning signs. And maybe if Jill is listening, she can help me write down these 11, put them on the Facebook and Instagram for us so that we can get these out. Number 1, they create or accept differences in status. They create or accept differences in status. Number 2, they have a heavy focus on and talk a lot about developing leaders. They have a heavy focus and talk a lot about developing leaders. Number 3, they don't see a need for outside help. This is one of the most greatest challenges is for others to see when they are underneath the governing or lordship of a minister who doesn't want any help from outside because he has all the answers, all the knowledge, all the wisdom. Sometimes he'll be known as this will get me in trouble, but that is okay. I am comfortable with who I am. A master prophet, I've heard this. A chief apostle, I've heard this. Truth is truth. They don't see a need for outside help. 4, their gifts, their talents, and personalities are justifications for more control. When you hear them talking about their gifts, all they're talking about is their gifts, their talents, their personalities, and their role in society, their level, their honor, their respect. When that's all they talk about, these are warning signs that you are in a toxic situation. And I don't care how much money you have given the church. I don't care the promises they have given to you. When you are hearing these warning signs, it is time to make your get out plan and get out. Number 5, they behave in ways motivated by rivalry or competition. I'm going to break these down. The unhealthy 11 warning signs. They accept and enjoy honorific titles. There's a need. There is a satisfaction. It's like a drug-induced a coma. It is like something that turns them on with the need for honorific titles. They always have to be honored. They always have to be seen. They always have to have the respect in the room. Number 7, their ministry, their agenda, their model, or their plan is equated with God's will. Everything about what they're doing is God's will. Another warning sign, number 8, they have trouble collaborating. See, we are called to co-labor in the kingdom. We are called to co-labor with everyone in the kingdom. And these toxic individuals, male and or female, or their administrators, or their elder boards, or their purse-carrying sidekicks, who do much of the work and bring much of the damage, and they do damage control because they know they're like Superman and Batman. Batman and Robin, Robin to Batman. So number 8, they have trouble collaborating. We're talking about the unhealthy ways. These are 11 warning signs how you know you're in a toxic church. It's time to get through your breakthrough. Number 9, they equate control with protection or shepherding. Very toxic individual. They equate control with protection or shepherding. Listening to the program tonight, this is Michael here inside the Night Moods in the lab, breaking down the 11 warning signs that you need to understand that you're in a toxic situation. And if you're dealing with church hurt, have come through church hurt, if you have been so hurt that you don't know who to trust, how to speak, where to speak, all this week we have a platform for you. If you want to call in, the number is 563-999-3685, or you can email nightmoodshDQ@gmail.com. Number 10, they struggle with relationships. If you see people coming and people going, and the minister and his subordinates cannot handle, or they micromanage, and then you, because of situations or crisis or circumstances, people are moving in and moving out, and there is this projection that it's all about them and not about me. They project the problem on someone else, and they have a tenacity of victimizing themselves. That is a cheap sign of manipulation. And so many buy in because it's their pastor, it's their minister, it's their apostle. I don't care what gift or what servanthood they've been commissioned. And if they've been ordained by another individual, you're going to have some trouble on your hands because they come under an inferior government. Number 11, they approach the Bible with arrogance and apply their own meaning. Interpretation is a tall tale sign. 11 warning signs of when you know you're in a toxic church. So let's break these down. Unhealthy. Again, this is going to be a week-long series. We're on night 1, 11 unhealthy signs that you are in an unhealthy church or in or underneath unhealthy leadership. And these are the signs that we're going to be looking out for. And again, I am sure there are at least 40 more signs. And we're going to be addressing some sensitive topics during this series. So this is going to be a show for the mature and a show for those of you who have been victimized or who are vulnerable still, and you don't have a space or a platform to begin to heal. Night Moods is opening up the doors, the Lighthouse and the Oasis all this week, especially during International Women's Month. Now, I do understand that there are also males that have come through, like our armor bearers. I have 0 armor bearers. We're in a new covenant. We're in a better covenant. But there are some church hurts that even males have been involved in. And so we're going to be addressing some sensitive matters all this week. 11 warning signs of an unhealthy church. We're going to begin breaking down these 11 warning signs. When we talked about that these leaderships create or accept differences in status. What do I mean by that? They claim to be leaders without ever living within the context of a proper body life or a ecclesiastical structure. These are individuals that have no oversight. These are individuals that have no fellowship of elders because they are the end-all, be-all, the last word in everything that they do. They likely are completing some kind of Bible knowledge training course or have higher levels of commitment. So here, we check, or I check, my doctor's credentials. Whenever I go into my doctor's office, I look at the credentials and I begin to ask questions. And we have changed doctors twice because of insurance. And so you want to check credentials. You want to ask questions of the leader who is charged over you. And I say this, the body needs to ask more questions like their life depended on it. Because in a sense, your life does depend on it when you have someone who is supposed to be teaching, proclaiming, and demonstrating the Word of God before you, helping you to get into your identity and not helping themselves into, excuse my language, into your pants or into your pocketbook or into your house, into your finances. Remember, this is sensitive things I'm going to be talking about in dealing with getting through your breakthrough, because truth is truth, and we want to bring you through. We want to make sure that you have a platform. Now, we still can't get the caller on, and I believe this caller has something that is needed. So I want to invite you to get with us tomorrow night, because I don't want you hanging on. I want you to understand that I do see you on the switchboard. I can't get you on. I've said hello a couple times here, but I want to make sure that we hear from you. So I want you to reach out to me on email and let me know that you're the caller who called in with the Chicago number. So let's connect, and let's maybe talk offline. My wife is available too, and we want to make sure that if you have a testimony, a witness, a story, if you are dealing with abuse right now, we want to make sure that we can have you on in a safe space to talk, give you minutes to talk about what you have endured, what you are enduring, if you have come through, how did you come through, what were the signs that you saw, without naming names, unless you're okay with naming names. But we're at the point now where turn the lights on. These ministers, these leaders and their hirelings, these ministers and their associates, their armor bearers, have preyed upon many, upon many, and upon many. And one of the first things one of my spiritual elder brothers, Tim, said to me was this: Michael, don't hurt the bride. The bride has been hurt enough. And that has been seared on my brain like a spiritual tattoo. And I don't have tattoos, but this is a spiritual tattoo. And I hear story after story after story, my wife can tell you the same, of the abuse that happens in the Christian church and all the victims that have come out. And there are many. And so we know we're not the only ones, but there are ministers that they run into, or there are fellowships and friends and girlfriends that they confide into. And then when we have been given the pleasure and the privilege and the honor and the respect that they come to our doorstep and share some of their pain and some of the hurt, it just makes you wonder what in the hell is happening to the church, where it is abusing the followers of Jesus. They can get that in the world. But anyway, I digress. I want to get in here. We're at number one. They create or accept differences in status. They likely completed some kind of Bible knowledge training course or have a higher level of commitment. They create special teams, boards, leaders, elders, or whatever to be the final say in the direction and decisions of the church instead of involving the whole congregation. Now, this is going to be a little bit gray in ecclesiastical governing of many of the churches, but I'm talking about these denominations, and these denominations covering up church hurt. That when you bring forth an accusation, they'll tell you, we have our eyes on it, we're going to handle it, and we'll get back to you. And they leave you dangling and giving you carrots, thinking that things are being handled. At the same time, they are formulating a plan how to make sure that they are ahead of the ball before the ball drops. These inner rings come in with the feelings of elevated statuses. They can also come with official names like elder rule. They make it individual or a practice to seek out and communicate God's will to the body, like they are the end-all be-all. But they're doing it to manipulate and control and micromanage you. There's going to be a lot during this series. This is a tall task. 11 warning signs of an unhealthy church and leadership to look out for. This is getting through your breakthrough. A series all this week I'm going to be talking about here at Night Moods HDQ. Sensitive, mature conversations, mature topics. I'm unpacking, I'm unveiling everything regarding your breakthrough if you're dealing with church abuse in a toxic church. This is my time with you for now. I'm going to be coming back to you tomorrow night at 10:30 for relaxation and inspiration. Just after the top of the hour, we're going to be getting into this conversation. Again, if you have been a victim on the end of an abuser in your toxic church, you have a space here in the Oasis and the Lighthouse inside Night Moods HDQ with Michael. I want you to keep your head up. I want you to stay focused. You have help. The door is open for you. And I'll see you right here back in Night Moods HDQ Tuesday night, 10:30. Until then, you have a blessed evening.